Hello again from My Front Porch. Technically, it's a wrap up of the ATD San Diego editions, but we're not actually at ATD San Diego. That ended yesterday. This, of course, is my coworker Cheri.
Hi, everybody.
And we are back aboard the Midway, where we were at for the big networking night thing. See here, see down there, all the planes on display. You can actually see things a little bit better than you could at night before. See all the planes on display there. Get my big head out of the way, you could see them better, of course. But
no, it's my big hair. The wind's blowing.
And then actually, way off in the distance over there, I'm not sure if you can see much of them, but there actually are. While this one is a museum, there are actual other naval vessels parked over there in San Diego Bay. So anyway, but the reason we're here, and your husband Scott is downstairs. He's a big history buff. He's like kid in a candy store here.
Oh, he is. I'll never get him to leave.
So when she comes back to work, she'll be all like, Scott's still in San Diego.
Exactly.
He's still aboard the Midway. He's still touring. He's still
Probably exactly right. Oh, well.
So anyway, I thought it'd be really great for Cheri and I to do just a quick little wrap up of the ATD conference now that it's over, and we can look back and it can be all retrospective. And so, because this was Cheri's very first ATD International Conference and Expo, and so what's your impression having this being your first one that you've gone to?
You know what? The first thing I want to say is if you haven't attended one, you have to. It really is the best value that you could do. I cannot believe the phenomenal speakers here, the keynotes, the classes that were offered. There was nothing overwhelming about it. It was very easy to navigate, and I am so excited to do it again next year in Washington, D.C. But I just can't say enough. It's really worth it. If you haven't done it, you have got to do it.
So did you feel like you got some good takeaways, some good concrete
absolutely.
stuff that you can
I've got so many,
practice?
I'm not quite sure where to start at, but yeah, there was a lot of practical advice, everything from learning how to influence SMEs all the way up to just some of the tidbits from, I can't even remember right now, to all the courses. I had attended a couple of really good sessions, one about SMEs and learning how to manage your work, as well as one on that SOJ program. I think that's going to be a phenomenal program. I think we should try that at work. I think I might try to implement that with
we should figure out how they do that and see if there's something we could do with that.
See if we can do what they use that word pre-boarding. Yeah, pre-boarding. Somehow to bring them on. I think that's phenomenal to be able to do that. What an opportunity.
Yeah, that's a very sly reference to the two sessions that I did. Yes. So I would agree. I thought sometimes honestly I've gone to some of the ATD conferences, and some of the sessions at least I've gone to have been a little more theory and not as much practical application. But the sessions I went to this time, there was a lot of immediate relevance to at least the tasks that I'm doing. And granted, at least 3 of the sessions I went to were all about a similar topic, about standards that have been created for doing competency-based training and how to really do which ties into our structured on-the-job training program that we're doing. And so granted, some of it was in the choice and selection of what I went to, but I was very impressed with the information that I got from the sessions I attended, and I also sat in on, and you sat in on a version of as well, Deb Renner from Des Moines.
Yep,
from Terrell.
influence.
Yeah,
yes.
that she did one about there was an influencing themes, and I thought she gave some really good advice in there, some really great information, and I'm sure probably in the one you were in too, but the one I was in, there was great crowd participation, big audience. It was definitely a topic that they were very interested in. I can understand now why, in the promo stuff that went out beforehand, they showed like 25 faces of key influencers who were going to be speaking, and Deb was one of them.
Deb was one of my son.
And now I understand why, because I mean, not that I know Deb, and I know she's really smart, but obviously ATD understood that what she was talking about was going to be that popular, it was going to be that big a deal, and she did an excellent job with those things. Now there also were some tremendous keynote speakers this time around. They started off with President Obama was there for the first day, for day 1, and then Marcus Buckingham was there for day 2. And if you're not familiar with Marcus Buckingham, within our training and development industry, he is as close as we have to a rock star.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he just is the total package. He's a tall, handsome guy with blue eyes and an accent. Is it Australian or British?
I would say it's British, but it was pretty close. It was a toss between the two.
But still, it's a smooth accent, and he's funny, and
Very
he's
energetic,
really
just-
smart, and he's a researcher. He actually
Yes.
does the research, but he can then also explain it in human terms, which in and of itself is amazing. But he's very entertaining and engaging, and so like I said, for our industry, he's pretty much our rock star of our industry. And then we saw Connie Podesta
Yes.
that
It was a great wrap
did
up
the
yesterday
keynote one,
afternoon.
and she was hysterical. I'd never heard
Yeah.
her speak before, but now if I get a chance to hear her again, I definitely want to go see it.
Yeah,
She
I've looked
she
her
was
up,
fun.
and I'm going to follow her now too.
Yeah.
She keeps it real. I
Yep.
mean, I really appreciated her candor and looking at everybody and how we interact with each other and how we need to learn each other's personalities when you go to approach them. Just because just because I'm a circle,
Yeah.
and you approach somebody else as a square, it takes a whole different.
Yeah, she did a whole great
it
take
was
on the
great on the
personality thing using
personality, yeah.
shapes, squares, circles,
did.
triangles, squiggles.
Funny. Oh my God, she
yeah.
was great.
But what was great was she was using her humor the whole way through, and yet if you really were listening to what she was saying, it was very impactful. It was really good.
Exactly.
And so that was really entertaining to be able to get that too. So I want to double back to that first speaker though, because
Oh, yeah.
I did not go see President Obama for two reasons. One, because it sounded like it was going to be crazy to get in, and I was like, I don't really, I'm not really excited about getting up early in the morning to it. Plus, it was the morning of my first presentations, and I was in my room stressing over it and going through it, and
You might have been just a little bit
yeah,
busy.
just a little
I've never
bit.
seen that in him yet. But yeah.
Well, and just on that topic, my gut told me that morning that my presentation was too long. I was clicking through the slides, and I just I just feel like it's too long, but I ignored that gut, and I went ahead with it, and guess what? When I did my presentation, it was too long. I didn't get all the slides in. Trust your gut. But
Exactly.
Cheri did go to see President Obama. So tell us about that experience.
So I was up
Because she
about-
also sent me some pictures and some videos that I'll slip in here
Yeah.
too. But while she's describing this, there'll be some video stuff. They'll see the stuff that you did. and they'll put that in.
Exactly.
And I stole some pictures from lots of people were posting stuff to Twitter and everything. But still, share with everyone your experience.
So we stayed across the street at the Omni up on the 21st floor, so which gave me a perfect overview of the convention center and who was coming in and who wasn't. And about 5:45 this morning, the lines were horrendous. I mean, they lined up. The convention center is, I don't know how many miles long. It's not miles long, but how long it was. But they had people. There were lines that snaked back, and I thought,
Wrapped around the whole complex is
Yeah.
what I heard.
Yep, and it's like, I don't know if I can do this or not, so I just kept watching. I thought, you know what, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, depending on what your political views are. I really want to hear him.
Doesn't
And as the
matter.
day
He's a
went
former
on-
president. Whether you liked him or not as
Exactly, and
president.
it's a bucket list. You
Yeah.
gotta see him. How can you be that close
Yeah.
and not go over
Yeah,
to
for the
man?
record,
So-
I did not avoid going there because of anything to do with Obama himself. I really wanted to hear what a former president would have to say about our profession. I thought, but then I decided if he says some cool stuff, that others will talk about it, and so
Yeah.
I'll still get to find out what it was. But regardless of any past president, no matter what you thought of them politically, if you get a chance to go see them and they're going to be talking about what you do for a living, go see them.
Yeah.
But so the long lines, you
So
said.
the long lines, and then as I watched, then they even got longer, and I thought, oh Lord, here we go. So then I thought, and I'd back off and I'd think about it for a while. And finally, as it got to be about 7:30, I thought, you know what, I really don't care. I know they're shutting their lines down at 8:15. I'll walk to wherever I need to go to do it. And as I walked out, they had another door opened up, so the lines were just half as long. So my strategy was to go across the street. I shot into the line on the other side going in, and I was in and seated within 15
She's so
minutes.
sneaky.
I'm like, I did. I snuck
She's
right on there.
observing,
and got it.
getting the lay of the land,
It
and then
was
jump right in there.
Well worth it. Yeah, I wouldn't have missed it for anything. It was more of a Q&A, and I think he did a great job. I see that he's got a lot of good morals, and it was kind of a subdued, just more of a Q&A type of session that we had. So there wasn't, I was waiting for some of that hurrah and let's go, and I was waiting for some more information from, on our industry. But it was more about who he is now and what he is, doing and what he's seen looking back, over his last few years, and it was very educational.
Yeah,
Very worthwhile to listen to.
the only negative criticism or feedback like that I heard was people that were like that. I mean, that they commented that they were expecting him to come in and do more of a speech about our profession, about the role. Oh,
Yep,
there we
there we
go.
go.
There goes some. Told you, some of the active military vessels around here, and that's something's taken off from somewhere. But the people said they were expecting more of him to do a speech about how important the training profession was, the impact impact that we're making, why you are so crucial to the success of the workforce. You know, they were expecting more of that kind of a, like you said, cheerleader, a rah-rah kind of speech thing, and that wasn't what it was. He came in, he sat down, and there were some predetermined questions that he responded to. He was articulate and funny and talking about them, but it wasn't the expectation that a lot of people. I would have expected the speech thing because he's a great speech maker. Yep. He's really good at that. So you know, it's like again.
At the end of the day, he did say, you know what, it is up to you. So if you're going to make a difference in the world, it's up to you to do that. Nobody's going to do it for you. You know, we're all given the same talent. We're all given the same opportunities out there in life. So it's for us to take that and do something with it. So that, you know, he wrapped it all up, and that's where he went with that.
Well, and even before
was the theme from the whole, I think, the whole event this time.
Yeah. That's a good
conference.
point.
Yeah,
I'd say I would agree. In there. But even before this conference, President Obama's already. I mean, he's made quotes about how, you know, don't wait for somebody to come along to be the change. Don't wait for someone else to be the change. You are the change. Be the change. Don't wait for the change. And I would say that fits with what I heard in my sessions was a lot of, you know, this is what you can do. Go back and do it.
Right.
Be
Absolutely.
the change. And so that
Marcus said it. Connie said it yesterday, and just you know, like Paul said throughout the sessions during the time too, it's more about taking that responsibility for who we are and going forward and making that change.
I think there was even some references to stuff like that in those 2 sessions you alluded
probably
to.
that I sent in through. I heard that a couple times.
I think there may have been some comments about the responsibility of the training personnel to do some stuff. And,
exactly. So, put the ownership back on the mentors.
Amazing how that all just happens.
I know, right?
Works
Accountability.
Yeah. All right. Well, we need to wrap this one up because Scott was here. He was wandering. Oh, there he is over there.
Yeah.
He's over there getting his history fix, talking to one of the volunteers here that can talk about the planes and stuff. But Cheri and Scott have been gracious enough to let me tag along with them today as we've come back here to the Midway to do. I had to come back and get shot glass from my collection because the other night when we were here, it closed. The gift shop closed before I could get one.
Too busy dancing and
you know, meeting people and taking pictures and stuff. But still, so this has been beautiful to come back and get to see it in the daytime. It's really awesome. But they are staying a few days longer and enjoying San Diego a bit longer. Myself, I have to get going to get on an airplane to fly back to Des Moines, where some of us will be back at work tomorrow.
I'll be back Monday.
So anyway, thank you, Cheri, for chatting with me about the conference and sharing your thoughts about it. And then I'm glad that you enjoyed your very first ATD. And next year it is in Washington D.C. And
the year after is Denver, and the year after is L.A.
And so she'll watch for her to be a speaker at the conference next year. You know,
either next year or in Denver. That's absolutely on my agenda. So
that's on her bucket list.
I
now.
knew I would say Denver, and he would say next year. So we'll see.
We'll see.
I was waiting for that.
All right. Well, anyway, regardless of which conference you see us speaking at, there will be conferences you see us at.
That's right.
Whichever it is, make sure you stop and say hi and come to the sessions because they're always great.
They are.
And with that, and from the deck of the Midway, the flight deck of the Midway, and all of beautiful sunny San Diego and the harbor down here. Oh, it's going to be such a shame to go back to Iowa that doesn't look like this.
No, it doesn't. But I heard it's nice back there too.
I heard it's nice weather, but it doesn't look like that back over there. It doesn't.
What is it? You get paid to work, and then you pay to have fun.
Connie Podesta said people complain that I don't have fun at my job. Well, of course you don't have fun. That's why we pay you. Because if it was fun, you would do it for free.
Exactly. You'd be paying to have that fun. That's right.
So yeah, of course you're not having fun. We're not paying you to have fun. We're not paying you to play. We're paying you to work.
Exactly.
All right. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna cut this off because we could just keep blathering blah blah on and on. Anyway, again, thank you, Cheri. Thanks, Scott. And I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.